Well, the Republican presidential field is getting crowded. Former Vice President Mike Pence and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, both expected to announce their bids for the White House this week. Joining me now is Republican presidential candidate and former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson. Governor, good morning.
Hey, good morning. It's great to be with you today.
Good to see you. The field is going to grow by two more this week. You've got Mike Pence and Chris Christie joining what is already a very large field. There's a lot of voices, a lot of candidates. How do you keep your voice at the top or part of the conversation when you've now got these two new competitors coming in?
Well, we welcome them into the race, and it's about half the size as it was in 2016. So it's still a manageable number, and more voices really add to the discussion of ideas. It's important to remember that for over a month, I've been an announced candidate, and I'm talking about the #1 issue that we face as Americans going into 2024, which is the economy. And whenever you look at Saudi Arabia announcing that they're going to reduce production of oil by $1 million barrels a day in July, that's going to challenge our economy, potentially raise prices again. So we've got to produce more energy. We've got to control our federal spending. These are fundamental to our growing economy, and that is what I am focusing on. That's something that I have done as governor, as balancing the budget. That's something that's important in producing energy and creating jobs. That's how we keep a thriving economy here in America.
Yeah, 90% of Americans are concerned about inflation and higher prices. But as far as the race itself, the 2024 race for the Republicans is drawing some comparisons to the 2016 primaries. So really, if you go back in time, there was no focus on then candidate Trump. But he appears to be leading that race now. As the latest polling, he's strongly ahead of DeSantis and others. How are you going to handle that? Because in that time frame, in those debates, the other candidates were really going after Trump. You think about Ted Cruz, think about Ted Christie. But now he's going to be the one where either you fight back against Donald Trump or you don't. How do you handle that? What is your strategy?
Well, first of all, it's early in the campaign. We just had our first kickoff in Iowa this last weekend. And in reference to the leader in the primary right now, Donald Trump, you make your case that he can't win in a November election. He's not best positioned to win against Joe Biden. We're looking for new voices for America, new ideas for our future. And so that's the competition among the other candidates. And then one is going to surface. We shouldn't artificially suppress those candidates. That's what Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, the early primary states will do. And everyone will naturally narrow the field as you get closer. But this is something that's important for our democracy, that we have different voices out there. My voice is important. Bringing my background in national security and law enforcement as a governor, as head of the DEA. These are experiences and voices that are important and solutions that are important for America, and we shouldn't suppress those voices.
All right. Well, let's talk about the debate coming up. So right now, Real Clear Politics has you polling at just about 0.4%. Are you confident that you're going to have a spot on the stage for this first debate?
I am. And, of course, our polling numbers show higher than that we've met the qualification in terms of the percent needed to get on the debate stage. We do have to have 40,000 donors. asa2024.com is where you go to help us out. And we need these participants on the debate stage. I expect to be there. I will be there. August is the first debate in August. The first debate is in August in Milwaukee. And we look forward to that, to present our ideas.
All right. Well, certainly, we've got a little bit of time. Not a lot. We've got some time. I want to talk about some of the issues that voters have expressed their thoughts on, in particular when it came to the midterms. So abortion was an important issue back in the midterms, and a lot of your Republican colleagues were surprised that it actually did swing some races against them. So it looks like it's going to be another big issue in 2024. Would you support a federal abortion ban? Are you willing to say that now?
Well, the Democrats will drive that issue. Economy, I believe, will drive the election. But in terms of abortion, I'm pro-life. Whenever you look, I think this will be resolved at the state level. If it gets to the national level, as long as there's reasonable restrictions with reasonable exceptions, then that's something that I would look at as president and be supportive of. But I do support the exceptions of life of the mother and in the cases of rape and incest.
Okay. You know, Governor, you also have called China a threat to the U.S. economy. We touched on that briefly a few moments ago. Yet last week, several American CEOs visited China. Elon Musk from Tesla, Tim Cook from Apple, Jamie Dimon. So you've got these executives and very powerful people in this country that are still over there doing business, speaking with the Chinese. But then you had a Chinese ship over the weekend that got, frankly, too close to one of our destroyers. How do you plan to handle the issue of China if you were elected president?
The most important thing right now in reference to China is that we stay strong in our support of Ukraine. China is watching that very carefully, and we have some candidates and policymakers that want us to withdraw our support from Ukraine. That would be a big mistake and a wrong signal to China that we're not willing to stand with our allies and stand strong against those that oppress. China and Russia are drawing closer together, and we want to make sure that they understand that we're not going to weaken ourselves in reference to Russia. In terms of our business relationship with China, we have to have a strategic decoupling, which means when our military component parts, you know, our medical supplies, we've got to produce the supply chain elsewhere than China. That doesn't mean we have a total decoupling of our economy, and I think that's why some business people are there. But we have to have a strategic reversal of relying upon China for key component parts for what we depend upon in the United States, and we don't want to depend upon another country that is not a reliable ally of the United States.
Reliable certainly is not the word I would use when it comes to the Chinese, sir. Let's talk about another big issue that's likely going to be the focus of voters, and that is the issue of crime. I want you to take a look at this shocking surveillance video. This is just this weekend. A man opened fire inside a New York City restaurant. One man was hit. And then out in California, companies fleeing the city of San Francisco. You've got growing crime, homelessness problems. Governor, you were the DOJ. How would you tackle the crime crisis that is gripping this country right now?
I would use every lever of the Department of Justice to make sure that our local prosecutors are doing the job. It all comes down to three simple words: enforce the law. And I've been a federal prosecutor. I've been in the courtroom. You have to be able to take these defendants, whether it's a minor case, whether it's a grab-and-run theft, or whether it is a violent crime, and you've got to prosecute those. And our local prosecutors and our local communities need to drive that issue, but we can use the levers of the Department of Justice to make sure the U.S. attorneys are supportive, that we're going in there independently, because much of this is a violation of federal law as well, that we address the crime in those cities. People want to feel safe, whether it's their schools, whether it's going to the grocery store, or whether it's going home at night. We've got to make sure our communities are safe.
Well, certainly, Governor, it is. There's a lot of topics on American minds, and we look forward to seeing more of you. Governor Asa Hutchinson. Governor, thank you for joining us this morning.